Hey guys, Mason here. Welcome back to the Sweet Spot, where I create delicious desserts that you guys can follow along with at home. If you're new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below and you'll get 2 new videos every week. Also, while you're down there, you'll see the full written recipe and the list of ingredients with their measurements and their weights. Alright, today's video, the star of the show, is gonna be an apple. Apples to me say fall just as much as pumpkins do. And I love going to an apple orchard and picking fresh apples. I just think there's something so cozy about that. Today we're making salted caramel apple tarts. If you all want the recipe, stick around and we'll get started. Alright, for our pastry dough, we have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of shortening that's been frozen, 4 tablespoons of butter that's been frozen, and we're going to use a couple tablespoons of ice water depending on how thin or thick we want our dough to be. So, let's get started. Alright, so we have all of our dry ingredients in our bowl. We're going to whisk those together. The almond flour will give it a nice taste. It'll change up the flavor a lot. Right, now we're going to add in our shortening, our butter that's all been frozen. We're going to squish this in by hand, really breaking up those pieces of butter and that shortening. Now the butter will freeze a lot harder than the shortening will, so if your shortening is soft, it's fine. We're just wanting to break up those butter pieces into pea-sized pieces. This may seem like it's taking forever, but good things take time, especially if you're making a homemade dough. I know it's easy just to run to the store and buy a frozen one, but it feels better and it tastes better when you know that you made it by hand. And then you get bragging rights, so you get to tell everyone, hey, I made this completely from scratch. Now we're going to add our 3 to 4 tablespoons of ice water. We'll do this slowly so we're not making our dough too wet. It will still be shaggy. It's important to we're not kneading this dough. It's not a bread dough. It's going to be a nice shortbread dough. So we want to take our time and not overwork it. 3 and 4. Work it to come together. All right, wonderful. Now we're going to get a piece of cling wrap, plastic wrap, cling film, whatever you want to call it. Perfect, and we can still see all of those butter pieces. See all the butter pieces in there? It's going to make for a wonderful pastry. All right, now we're going to put this in the refrigerator for at least an hour. I'll see you guys shortly. Alright, we have 1 cup of sugar here. We're going to add 6 tablespoons of water to that. and 1 tablespoon of light corn syrup. And this will just help it from getting too hard and crystallizing. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna turn this up to high heat, and we're going to stir this until it starts to boil. Once it starts boiling, we need to stop touching it at that point. Okay, we're now starting to boil. We haven't turned the heat down, it's just gotten a lot thicker. It's starting to caramelize. And we're just waiting for it to turn a nice amber color. It'll turn a really pretty light straw color first, and from there it'll start to deepen and get darker really fast. So don't leave the stove. Stay over here and keep an eye on it. All right, we're at that stage now. We're going to add our butter. Alright, we're going to pull it off of the heat. This is where we're going to add our cream. This smells so good, you all. I really hope you try this at home. It's really an easy recipe. You just can't leave the stove while you're making it because it happens so fast. Alright. Now we've gotten that added in. We're going to add in our half teaspoon of coarse salt. Give that a nice mix through, because this is salted caramel after all. So you really want to taste that salt. Now that our caramel sauce is made, we're going to put it to the side and let it cool down before we use it in our apple tartlets. See you guys in a little bit. Alright, we have a bowl of cold water that's got some lemon juice in it, and we're going to start cutting our apples. This is just to store them in so they don't turn brown while we're cutting them. Alright, so we're just going to take our apple, cut it right down the middle. Now I'll just take my ice cream scoop and go in and scoop out all that gunk. Now that we've got that done, what I like to do is use a mandolin. If you don't have a mandolin at home, I would suggest you could cut them really, you're gonna need to cut them really, really tiny with a knife. So if you have good knife skills, go for it. But I'm not the best at that. As we're cutting them like this, we're gonna wanna put them in the water. Okay, now we've drained our bowl of apples, have water in them, and we're going to pour over boiling water to cover them completely. And this is going to help them get a lot more pliable and easy to work with. And that'll help us to start folding our roses. So we'll let these sit for about 10 minutes. We're going to take some parchment, sprinkle some flour on it, lay our dough on it. Okay. Take another piece of parchment. All right, now we're gonna take it, fold it into thirds. Okay, now what I like to do is take a bowl. If you have a larger round cookie cutter, it would be perfect for this. I have a really, really greased muffin pan, cupcake pan, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just fitting my dough down into it.
Okay. And tops off.
Beautiful. Alright, so we have our salted caramel. It's come to room temperature. We're going to get a tablespoon and drop it in the bottom of our shells. Okay, now we're going to take our apples that have been soaking and lay them around to form our roses. Alright, now we're going to bake these off in our preheated oven for at least 25 to 30 minutes. If the pastry's still not done, we'll keep them going up to 40 minutes. See you all when they're out of the oven. Alright, you guys, we've gotten them out of the oven. They were actually in there for 30 minutes. Now, when I pulled them out of the oven, I took them out of the pan and set them out on a cooling rack to cool. You want to take them out so they can cool and not stick to the pan, because they will stick if you leave them in there to dry completely. Look at this lovely crust. It's got a nice lamentation on the outside. It's crispy. See all the little flaky pieces falling off? Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So what'd you guys think? How cute were those? They tasted absolutely delicious. I know it's a bit of a process, but it's totally worth it. It's such a showstopper, you guys. Now, this to me just screams fall. Like I said, I think it's very romantic, thinking about going to an apple orchard to pick apples with someone that you love. And this just takes it to the next level. The pastry, oh my god, it's the half shortening, half butter. Really, you get that butter flavor, but you get that flaky texture from the shortening. That's all we got for this episode. But if you want 2 wonderful fall recipes every week, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Also, if you like videos like this, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. And share this video with all your friends and family on social media. From my home to yours. Enjoy.